So I just want to make sure that you understand we're a little bit behind on the replays, but the replay is up, and if you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'll see the replay. Rose, who's on today, does a wonderful job of going back and telling you at what point you will get what information. So she gives you the agenda with the times on it, which is wonderful and very beneficial. And one of the things I'm going to try to do is to say the question out loud so that the people who are listening on the replay get the best experience possible. We've been working really hard to make that replay a great repository of information, and we're getting closer to being able to perfect that pretty soon. Okay, so thank you for your understanding. I appreciate it. Okay, the next thing is I want to talk about support just a little bit. We get a lot of support tickets that are duplicates, and people will post, will send in support tickets when like for example, when if and when those times when there's a hiccup in the site, check the group first, and we'll make sure when you check the group, see, Irving, that's a support question. So you'll have to ask that question in support. All right. But check the groups before you send in a support ticket. If you can imagine what happens to the support log when 18 people say, is the website down? Look in the group first. We try to keep you informed in the group, so look in the group first. That will help reduce the support ticket load, because every one of those tickets have to be answered, and that creates a big load. So always look here first. I'm amazed at how many times people will send in support tickets asking about the background removal tool, where if you had typed in background removal here, you would have gotten all the information that you needed in that little search button. And a lot of people don't know that that's available there. So I want to help you with that. Try to help us help you, and make sure that the questions that you send to support are actual support questions, so that it helps to reduce that load in support. That will be extremely helpful. Okay. The next thing is you'll find oftentimes there is like, I'll give you an example. Mocksign is a good example of that. We have answered the same question about how do I get the new mockups over and over and over again, when we've answered it repeatedly in the group as well. So make sure you look there first before you do anything else. That will really help us on the back end. Okay, enough of that. I just want to make sure that you do that. A community shout out here. This is a great, this young lady has done a wonderful job of creating some awesome looking videos, awesome mock-ups. She's just done a great job. So I always give a community shout out to somebody who's done some cool work. And so I wanted you to see that today. The next one is Dean's done another one that I just am amazed with. And so this is a really, really good looking job. If you're looking for inspiration, if you're looking for something that can help you, I'd highly encourage that you scroll through the news feed and take a look at the designs that people post, because you get some really, really cool ideas. This one was really, really cool in creating a family tree. I would have never thought to do that. Again, I am inspired by y'all's creativity, and so I wanted to give a little shout out to the two people that have posted some amazing stuff in the group. Now, having said that, I have a question. I want to know where the GIFs are at. I don't see very many GIFs being posted, and I really want to encourage you to do that. I put a and sometimes they do, Rob. Rob has asked, would it be helpful if those posted in the great work could possibly describe how they did it? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's kind of obvious how they did it. And sometimes it's just they're making a gift to you, and so let them but I encourage them to do that. Encourage them to do that. We had an interesting thing that got posted one day. A question was, how do you do this? And so Gene did it one way, I did it a different way. And we both posted the way that we did it, and it's kind of fun. It expands our creativity. So I want to encourage you to do that as much as you possibly can. So the next thing is make sure that you post those GIFs. I posted a question about 4 weeks ago. If anybody has questions about GIFs, make sure that you give them to me so I can address them on the webinar. And so far, nobody's done that. So I'm asking, where's those GIFs at? I want to make sure that we do that. And then I'm going to give you a resource here. I found this looking for cinemagraphs. Here's 30 creative cinemagraphs that will drive you wild with inspiration. And the link is right there. If somebody wants to copy that, post that in the group, that'd be great. But that's just a wonderful, inspiring way to use cinemagraphs, something that we've addressed a couple of times in the webinar, and I would like to do in the future if there is interest in that. And that's the reason why I'm asking, where's those GIFs? Where's the questions about them? What's going on with that? So we can find a way to address that, okay? Excuse me. The next thing is I want to talk about mock design for just a minute, and I've got some mock-up FAQs, and the question is, where do I get the new mock-ups at? That's come up a lot. Again, that was something that went to support repeatedly, and we answered the question numerous times here. We've answered that question numerous times in the group, and that's where you can reduce that load on support if you'll help to use the group, because we got some great people who are very supportive in the group. But again, just to remind you, you should have mock design version 0.6, and the new mockups are available under this tab right here. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And if you have questions about what version, what's going on, things like that, search the group first, okay? Yes, we can do that, and I will make sure. Team VFM has asked this question: when you discuss GIF sign, can you show again how to bring the graphics in? Yes, when we, and I'm going to dedicate more time to GIF sign later on, and when I do that, I will definitely go from start to finish on about 3 different styles. Okay. How do you adjust the images? You have an adjustment button that is available on the platform, and so make sure that you use that. People say, well, my image got distorted, or I don't like the way it looks, or I need to reposition it. You can do that. You can reposition the image, and you can crop the image that's going in your mock-up, and both of those are available right there. Resizing the output. That question came up earlier. You can resize the output. Here's how you resize the output. You use this little tool on the far left-hand side, which is a crop style tool. So if you'll use that, that tells you the size, the pixel size of your image, okay? And that's where you resize that output image. So if I wanted to crop this side off, I can do that. I can make that a tighter fit. I can make that just around the outside of this picture frame and do that as well, okay? So you can resize the output there. Now, it is going to come out large because it is a high resolution. It's not a high resolution image, but it's a high DPI image, but that's where you crop your image size at. Okay. The next thing is make sure that you've downloaded that new version and that you are in fact operating on 0.60. I'm sorry, on 0.06. Yes, I said that right that time. So that you'll get to take advantage of all of these new, the new mock-ups that are available there, okay? All right, any questions about that so far? That's about all the time I'm going to dedicate to mock design today. Again, remember, mock-ups are the battle for attention, and I want to make sure that you recognize that there is attention here. Okay. I have a question here. Let me say one second. Believe it or not, friend, today that is actually on the agenda, how we do that. And so I will be showing that. I'll be demonstrating that today. That's in a response to questions that were asked last week. So I'll be doing that, okay? Yeah, no, I really do appreciate that, Gene, but it makes it difficult for me to be able to know that we're working well here with everybody. If time allows, I will mention a couple of things, and I will demonstrate a couple of things on the Untitled desktop. On the Untitled desktop, excuse me, on the Untitled desktop platform. Okay, so. Then we're going to take a look at the canvas, and we're going to do some studies on the canvas, and I'm going to show you. Today, we're going to be working with, thank you, Suzanne, I appreciate that. Today, Al had asked a question about the free cinemagraphs, and actually that's not free cinemagraphs, that's just a site demonstrating the cinemagraph, okay? Do with the background removal tool is I took this cup of coffee and decided to drop an image inside the cup of coffee. And so I'll be showing how to remove a portion, which I think was the question that friend asked earlier. And that was, how do you remove a portion of the background, but not remove all of it? And so I'll be demonstrating how to do that, particularly using this, but that same technique will be available to do almost anything that you would like to do with that. And then I'm going to do something else to show you how to use the additional background that's available, and being able to change the shadow direction on an image so that it matches the rest of your design. Okay. And we'll work with the shadows and how the shadows come into play. You'll notice the difference, that this, from this to this, how do the shadows come into play? And can you use shadows with the image after the background has been removed? Because sometimes you're going to put that in a place where you need to add shadow to it. So we'll be talking about how to do that as well. And then, well, actually, Tom has asked the question. No, he wanted to know how to keep one part in color and make the rest of it black and white. We did do that. I called that the reverse background, and then dropped that image over the top of a black background. So I'll show that as well using this right here, and we'll talk about that. So hopefully we'll be able to, somebody help me to remember to do that when I get to that portion, okay? We can show how to do that as well. The hair removal tool. We're going to talk about the hair removal tool today and what to do with that, and how does that thing work, and how do you make the hair removal tool work as well. So we'll address that when we get to the canvas as well. And then last week we talked about layering images. I want to talk about layering shadows. If time allows today, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to show you how important layering shadows is when you have layered images, and the difference that it makes. And I'll show you that with this example that we have here. Okay, so we always begin with the end in mind. Just a reminder of that. Show you whatever tips and tricks that we have addressed so far, and then I'll do my best to try to leave some time so that we can answer the questions at the end. Unfortunately, it takes me a little longer when I struggle to keep my voice here. So we'll do our best to do that. I am going to now switch from the agenda to the canvas. So give me just a moment to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to address that, Susanna. Remember this. I ask y'all to help me with this when I'm doing this. We do these live, and so I can't get into as much detail as I would normally do if I were doing it for me. If I do, it will take too much time. I do my best to try to make the demonstrations fairly simple, but we'll try to help you to understand how the technique works. Okay. All right. Give me just a second so that I can switch screens here, and we'll do our best. Remove it from the replay. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. I can demonstrate the same thing here. All right. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move this over here so you can see this. This is what I want to accomplish. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is go to my background erase tool. And on my background erase tool, I want to take the coffee out. All right. So I'll demonstrate everything here. I'll remove the coffee. I'm going to keep, and this one is a little bit tricky because I got I got this edge right here. Okay. So we're going to go around the outside of this with the green tool, which is what we want to keep. And I'm going to try to keep that as close as I can. Again, keep in mind, I'm just trying to demonstrate the technique the best I can here. All right. Like that, a little edge right there I want to keep. Right there. All right. Now, right here. Now you're going to have to work this just a little bit. This is one of those rare occasions when you hold down the red button. All right. Just leave it down. Work the edges of that. And you begin to get the look that you're after. Okay. All right. Now, same thing on the background. And this was the question about the black and white, the darken, and those questions. Okay. I can turn this on as the background. All right. And that would make this area right here turn black. All right. In this case, what I wanted to do is I wanted to save that. But think about using the background removal tool as a way to spot things in. And that's a way to do that. I can change the color of that. And you see what happens to this area. Sometimes I need to use that in order to figure out what's happening with my if I'm removing things properly. And I'll be able to show you that in just a little bit. Okay. The tab for the background removal tool is that little erase button, and I'll show you that when we get off this screen. All right, so I'm going to save this as a colored image, and we'll go back over here, and I'll delete that now because I have this one saved right here. So that's that little erase background tool right there. On your edit menu, it's right there, okay? And yes, now I've put a picture in the middle of this cup. So go to the outside of this, and I'm going to move this to the background, and you'll see that this is a picture that I've dropped in here. I happen to have that picture, and it was that size, so I just simply dropped it right there, okay? So what I did, Kim, that's a really, really good question. Let me delete this, and I'll show you over here. I had saved that image from webinars way long time ago, right here. I'd saved that, I put it in a circle. So I took this and I just resized it until I got it about the size that I wanted it to be, okay? when I got it the size that I wanted it to be. What if it was square? If that had been a square image, what I would have done is real simple, Kim. I would have moved this to the foreground. Let me make this bigger and I'll show you. I would have moved this to the foreground. Let's assume that that's going to be be like that. I would have moved the background to the foreground, and there you go. Okay. Now, the way you make this image right here round is we have a crop tool. Let me get another image on top of this so you can see what I'm talking about here. Let me find another facial image. I apologize for using this, but this is it's the crop tool right here. And so I can crop it to be round. I can crop it funny shapes. Now, make sure that you click this Save to Library right here, because when you save it to the library, what it does is that it makes that image in the shape that it was cropped, okay? But make sure you click on Save to Library, and then that way it will save it over here in your library. All right. Okay, Gainer's asking, couldn't you just put that picture in the foreground without removing the coffee in the cup with the removal tool? Yes, but if I just had a square image here, I could do anything I want to do. But keep in mind, there was a reason why I used this image, because it was easy to show you how to create the circle, how to do those kinds of things, okay? So as a round image, I could have done that. But here's the thing to keep in mind. I could easily have created anything and then just dropped that picture on top of it. Right? Any questions about that? This is something that I think that we could take bigger advantage of, okay? Yeah, if you make sure that you click that Save to Library, you'll always have it in that crop area the way that you want it to. All right. Okay, let me switch here for just a second. We'll go over here and take a look at this. This is also this is an image that is just a plain old ordinary image here. It's an image of an apple. If you'll notice the direction of the light right here, the direction of the light's kind of coming down. It's shot in a light box, obviously. So a way to group the photos after cropping in the library. You can only save them as a group. You could layer them on top of each other and save them as a group if you wanted to do that. So I've got this shot in a light box. The light's coming straight down, so the shadow's down here at the bottom. But this is not going to affect me being able to add shadow to it. So what I'm going to do here, this is real simple background remove. And I'm going to take the background off of it. I'm not going to go through the removing process this time, but I have taken this image now and I have added a shadow effect to it. All right, I can turn that shadow effect off. And by turning the shadow effect off, it changes the look of the image. Now, I just get the shadow, a little bit of a shadow at the bottom, which is what I cropped out of the picture, okay? But I can add the shadow and I can give a depth to this. Is everybody with me? All right, good. So most people don't understand that once you've cropped the image, the shadow is going to go around the image. Now, if I put a border on it, the border is going to go around the outside of the original image. But if I put a shadow on it, then I'm actually adding that to the actual image itself. So that adding that shadow becomes extremely beneficial. Okay. I can move that shadow around this way. Somebody has caught the tape measure. If you want to remove the white background, doesn't it take no, actually it doesn't. What you do is you take your removal tool and you just go right straight down the side here and save the white in the image, okay? And you'll have to crop it a little bit close, but it'll work. Actually, I understand the question that you're asking. Let me find that tab. Could I have made it so that the picture looks like it was in the coffee? Yes, but I have cropped this really tight. I could have easily have removed all of the background from this and just had a transparent background on this image on the top, okay? Yes, let me. I think I can illustrate a couple of things here. Let's do this. Let me grab that same coffee graphic if I can. That's it right there. Now I can take that same image that I had before. Scroll down here and find it. And take that image. Well, wait a minute, that's not the crop. That's not the one that was saved as a crop. Hold on just a second. Don't know where it went. I apologize for this delay. I should have had that really easy there. I'm going to do this. Hold on a second. Keep in mind, there are lots of ways to accomplish exactly the thing that you want to do. Okay, I'll bring that to the front because this question comes up some too. So give me a second to do this. I can take this image. I can make it smaller. I can put it on top of the coffee. Now, watch what happens here. I'll take the opacity of that and make it lighter like that. And I've changed that as well, okay? So yes, there's a lot of really cool ways that you can do that. Just trying to show you as many ways to use the background removal tool as possible. Yeah, Gaynor, you're probably right about that. You can, and I've shown you multiple times how to use the group tool. The group tool would help in this case. But I do like making that image a little more transparent and having it show through the coffee. You can accomplish it that way as well. Now I could also take my blur tool and do that as well, okay? All right, are there any questions about that? I'll do my best to try to answer your questions here before we move on. Lots of ways to accomplish that goal. All right. Now, let me find the hair design here, and we'll load up the hair design, the hair tool. I'll show you what we do with the hair tool, okay? First thing I'm going to do is make sure that I save as much of this image as possible. And then I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of the hair tool. All right. And what I'm going to do, Leroy, watch right here. The hair tool is right down here at the menu at the bottom, and it's right here. You have the brush tool, which determines the size of your brush. All right. This determines the size of your brush. So if I have an area that's really difficult for me to get into, like if I want to save this area right here, I can click in there with that hair tool, okay, or with that with a smaller brush. So I've got a ways to resize my brush. That's the first thing. I have a background that I can use right here, which is what I did in this case. Was I put this on a background so I could see what I was doing. Now, you don't want to save it with that background there because you're trying to make it transparent. But I have all of these tools that are available here. I can crop this, I can add shadows, I can do those kinds of things. But I want to focus on the hair tool here today. What I'm going to do now with the hair tool is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to identify, I'm going to make my brush size bigger, which by default, by the way, is 20. So I'm going to take my hair tool and I'm going to mark this area where the hair's at. All right. That I want to save. I'm going to save this hair area right here. And this is really challenging because if you'll notice, the background and the hair are the same color in some ways, are the same color. All right. So I'm marking all the area around the outside of this. And now what I want to do with that is I'm going to go back over here, and you don't have to be real tight with this. I'll show you the reason why. What I want to do is now I want to start to remove. So this is my foreground. This is the stuff I want to save. So I take the color picker. I want to make sure you all are seeing this, okay? I'm going to take the color picker. And when I hit the color picker, this is the stuff I want to save. The green one is the one I want to save. The red one is the one I want to delete. So I click on the green color picker tool and I go over here and now I start to pick the color of the hair. All right. And I'm selecting this hair color right here. And I want to save. You notice that saving the colors right here, you know, one I want to delete because that I don't want to save that one. And this one I want to delete because I don't want to save it. So what you're doing is you're picking the colors that are going to be kept and the colors that are going to be erased. And you can see what happens when you do that. All right, now I want to get rid of the background here. So I'm going to come in here and I'll pick this color right here, pick this color right here. And do you see what's happening over here? Picking up some of that color. We're eliminating it, okay? Get rid of that color. I want to get rid of that. Now the problem is that color is almost identical. So you're using that's, okay, I've missed it. I'm sorry. There we go. And can you see the changes that are taking place over here on this part of the canvas? Let me get rid of some of this. Maybe it'll look a little neater when I do that. I'm trying to reduce as much of this as I can. Okay, good. All right. All right, are there any questions about how to use that though? You want to make sure that you pick your colors that you want to erase. And when you do that, you'll notice it adjusts the image over here, okay? All right, any questions about that? Because we're about to run out of time. But again, I just wanted to demonstrate to you how to use these two color pickers. Don't want to try to remove all of this and make this all look clean and neat, but I want you to see what we're doing there. Yeah, it will be. It will take some effort to make that happen. And you go back over here, as Jim saying, and you get rid of the background color, and then you see what's happening here. Okay, um, and I can start to make this a little bit neater when I do that, and you see what happens. Okay. All right. Yeah, it takes a little time to do that. No, the hair tool's always been there. Well, I shouldn't say it's always been there. I think about 18 months ago is when we introduced the hair tool, but it's been there for a long time. Like I said, it's kind of tedious. It takes a lot of tweaking in order to make it work. But if you're trying to save two colors that are almost identical, it is a great version to have. It's a great tool to have. Okay. All right. I saved this image halfway through the process so you can see that. Let me see if I've got any other questions. And yes, you can zoom in. You can zoom in and get as tight as you want to. There is a zoom tool at the top of the background removal tool. Okay. All right. We covered this. We covered this. We covered that. Let me get rid of all of this. And I want to go back to my t-shirt designs. Let me grab something here to put to use as a background. And I'll grab those two t-shirts. We'll crop this tight. For those of you who've not seen that crop tool work, we'll do this so that we're making it just this image size right here. Okay. So with that, now I'm going to grab my t-shirt design here I had in the earlier image. This one. And you saw what I did in the image I showed you earlier, okay? So if I want to take this, this kind of blends in. I need to add a shadow here to make it look good, all right? When I add the shadow, watch what happens when I add the shadow. Increase the distance on the shadow and increase the darkness, the opacity of the shadow. Now it starts to stand out, okay? So I want to add two of these. So I'm going to take this one. Yeah, Jim, I appreciate you mentioning that. I have seen too many demos where people were just doing one screenshot after another. And I prefer to do these live because I experience some of the same things when I do it live that you experience when you're doing it live. So it's important to do that. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it the same angle over here. The problem is this isn't the look that I'm after. I don't want to shadow this on top of this one. I want them to look like they match. Okay. So I'm going to take the shadow now and I'm going to flip it. I'll make it go that way. How does that look now? Last week, I talked about how important it was to layer your images and make your shadows go the same direction. There are times when you want to make the shadow go a different direction. And this is a classic example of doing that, okay? Does that make sense? Are y'all understanding why I did that? I did that to keep it from blending in. If I turn the shadows off, watch what happens. When I turn the shadows off, I don't get the same look that I get with the shadows on. And again, I'm kind of exaggerating this. I'm kind of exaggerating it on purpose because I wanted to make sure that you see it. So the question is asked, how did I duplicate that and flip? I took this and I just turned it to an angle right here that looked nice. And then I duplicated that. And then I matched the angle going the other direction. Like that. Okay. Layered them on top of each other. And then I added the shadows. Put that shadow on. Put that shadow on. And I flip it. so that the whole, both of those look like they're standing out above the background. All right, Tom, you're right. It really does make it pop. Now, if I do this and I have, and I have that shadow going the same direction, notice what happens. Doesn't look the same. See what I mean? It just doesn't look the same. I want these to stand out and I want it to pop. So sometimes you'll remove a background so that you can do something with it, but then you can add the shadow back in and make it look amazing. Okay? Excuse me. All right, any questions about that? Does that make good sense to everybody? So the flipping was the angle button. Rob, I'm going to try to understand what you mean right here. When I do this right, yes, I duplicated this so that they were, so I duplicated the image, all right here, and then I just simply took it and tried to kind of match up the angle that way. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Is there anything that I said I was going to try to address that I didn't get a chance to address? I haven't saved much time to do that. I know there was a question that was asked earlier, and I think we addressed that. Can you talk about how to reduce the output of Mach-Zine from 20 inch? You'll just have to resize your image when you're done, okay? The question is asked, how do you reduce the output of Mach-Zine from 20 inches? Just simply reduce the size of your image when you're done, okay? How are you moving the shadow around with the angle? Good question, Kim. I hope I didn't go through that too fast. Here is the angle right here of your shadows. So you can move that angle of that shadow around like that, okay? But in this case, because this one went this direction, I felt like this one right here needed to go the same direction, just flipped. Heather, I'm sorry, I can't do that now because we're so far into the show, but you'll have to, you can watch that on the replay. We got some great detail on how to do how to erase the background, okay? Jim, I've not had any problem whatsoever, and I've used a lot of them, okay? I mean, when you look at the agenda on today's thing, there are several mock-ups that are in that, and I haven't had any problem whatsoever. Okay, thank you all so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. I really do. I know that this is a time commitment on your part, and I appreciate you taking and giving me your attention for an hour on Fridays. So thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next Friday, same time, same place, stronger voice, and a little less interruption, okay?